Alright guys, so I just about got this Bobcat skinned out and wanted to take a minute and kind of explain something to you and I guess discuss a little bit about the, there's a few different ways for life-size mammal work that you go about skinning out the animal. And I typically like to use what I would call like a modified dorsal incision, which would be down the spine. And when I say modified, I'll basically make that incision based on where the pose, like like say with a fish, for example, the show side. Now, a lot of times a mammal might have a 360 type look, and then you'll have to, of course, there's not going to be a particular show side like with this one here. You know, from either side you could display it. With those, I'll typically do one down the back. Anytime you can go without making an incision, then of course it's going to take a little bit more time for skinning purposes, but it's going to like guarantee a more natural finished look. And so like I usually try to always be mindful about making that. And so I wanted to share with you on my legs. I've already done all but this last one, and I was just going to show you essentially what I do. Essentially I pulled it out of there just like a sock, more or less, just brought it off. A lot of guys will take and make incisions down the pad to the inside of the leg. I don't do that, and I've done it many times. I don't mind sewing it, but again, if I don't have to sew it, I would rather not. With that being said, you know, I've already started working this one down. You got to kind of skin around the quarter here, get it around that joint, and then just start pushing it away, and then you'll have to just kind of be working the skin slowly down the leg, and be mindful of that as you're skinning. Like I got a little sloppy there, you want to keep as much of that meat and tissue on the carcass, because that's going to give you less to worry about having to flesh out later. And you're just going to have to kind of work back and forth around it, going down the leg. And after you get a little bit of that tissue separated, then just take a moment and give it a nice push and get some new tissue to work with. You're going to just keep on working it down the leg. And the front legs, I should have probably showed you on one of those. They have what I'd call like a thumbnail or an extra digit, but is a little bit further back on the front paws, and you kind of get to it, and it can be a little bit trickier to open them up than these back ones. And again, you just got to kind of tighten it up and then work that membrane right off of there. Just keep working around it. And again, I could have easily made a slice through the pad and went up the back of the leg on this one, or inside of the leg, and gave myself, or had this skinned out a good bit faster. But I would rather have this whole leg intact as far as the skin goes. Now on a coyote or your K9 type, you cannot do this. You have to have that relief cut that I've found. I've tried it because, again, if it would work for me, I would do it that way, but I've always had to make that relief cut for a coyote mount. And but on these cats, I don't have to. And I see a lot of guys that they follow that same principle on cats, and I like doing it this way because I can, like with that cat there, you can see I didn't have to worry about any sewing on any of the paws. So I'm getting on down here into to the end of it, the digits. Be starting to expose nails. You just got to kind of roll it and pull it, roll it around, pulling the skin, and then taking and cutting it slowly, being careful not to cut through. Because the method that I'm going to use to mount these feet, if I have a bunch of holes in there, then it'll give me a lot of stuff to have to clean up, bigger or more work to do. So as you can see, I'm getting down in there to the knuckles now, getting to the end of the line, but I'm not gonna do anything just yet. I'm gonna keep on making sure I work it down as far as I can get it until it pretty much dead ends on me. And again, on that front, on those front paws, you would have one of your digits would be right here. Let me just show you real quick. You have that extra nail right there that you're going to have to tend to before you get to this end, whereas on these you just got the 4 at the end. I want you to see these little connective areas. That's what you want to focus your blade on and get those opened up well. Just basically skinning down all the way down the digit. And after I've got it for the most part down, you're only going to want to do these 2 outside nails first. Take you some angle cutters, diagonal cutters here, right there at that joint. Don't cut the middle 2 yet. Not the end of the world if you do, but I wait on those. Because what you're doing is you're creating some more back pressure now to continue skinning. You can see how much further I'm going to be able to get. Because these digits are just a touch longer, so you want to keep on going down, exposing more of that foot pad, rolling it around. Getting right, just keep on working way down. All the way to basically where that nail or that claw is starting. Separate the tissue. Just slowly take your time. I'm using a surgical scalpel. I think that's a number 22. I used to use a bunch of different scalpel sizes for different stuff, and I've just gotten to where I've used the same scalpel on everything. Now, I've pretty much gotten that joint on down. Get that little. You can see the little tendon running along the bottom. I'm going to cut through just one of them, because once again I want to take now and open up. I've created a little bit more area to get my blade into and open this on up some more. You can see I'm really exposing that nail, and I'll come back to and open those nail pockets up. But while it's still attached to the carcass, I wanted to show you this too. This is what I do. That way I'm not wrestling this thing around. I've got something to create a little bit of back pressure on, and I'll fold that up. That's why I keep these attached, and then I'll take my scalpel and flesh out this pad. This little area is what's on the bottom of these mammal feet to, protect that foot skin. And I'll get that rolled up, just shaving it up slowly, being careful not to cut through. You can see how much I've already shaved up, and there's still a good bit. Just take your time. This is one of those things where you're going to mess up a few before you probably get or before you learn to do it without making this thing look like Swiss cheese. And so just shave that back. A lot of times you can take and work the big chunks down to the nail that you have attached and give that something for you to press your blade into and kind of cut it off. But essentially what you want to do is just flesh that down real close, because you do want tan to penetrate here. If you leave that fatty tissue, you're going to be dealing with shrinkage, and worst case scenario, you could even have a problem where the tan doesn't penetrate and doesn't preserve that skin the way you need it to. So just wanted to share this with you. If you're, this is more of a taxidermist tip, because it can save you a lot of time on sewing, and of course give you a much more natural finished look on the leg. As you can see with this, there's no incisions down through there, and when I go to mount this back up, it will be all intact. And before I cut that loose, I'm going to do one more little, and then at that point I'll take and cut that final nail, and that leg is now fully skinned out. So stick around for more videos like this. If you're learning taxidermy, or you're just interested in it, or then got a lot more of them coming your way, and got some hunts lined up that are going to be exciting for you guys to watch, and we'll see you next time.